World's top 10 biggest wars in history. 1. World War II. The deadliest war ever fought in the history of the world is the World War II. This worldwide war was fought from 1939 to 1945. Most of the world's nations were involved in this war, which also included some of the most powerful nations. Two opposite parties were formed as a result, namely, the Axis as well as the Allies. More than 100 million military personnel were mobilized in the World War II. This deadliest conflict in the history of mankind was marked by various notable events, including the Holocaust as well as the only use of the nuclear weapons in the concerned warfare. More than 70 million people lost their lives in the World War II. This makes the World War II the bloodiest war in the history of mankind. 2. The Rebellion of Taiping. Another Chinese war which is considered as one of the deadliest wars occurred in the world is the Taiping Rebellion. The civil war spread wide in the southern China from the year 1850 to 1864. The war was led by Hong Jiuquan, the heterodox Christian convert who claimed to have visions like he was the younger brother of Jesus Christ. This war was fought against the ruling Qing dynasty. Around 20 million people lost their lives in the War of Taiping. 3. World War I. Fought from 1914 to 1918, the World War I is considered as the third horrendous war in the history of the world. This war involved all the greatest powers of the world who assembled as two rivalries, namely, the Allies, which were based on the Triple Entente of the French, Russian and the British Empire, as well as the Central Powers of Austria-Hungary and Germany. Italy was the nation of the Triple Alliance, but it did not join the three entities in the war. This war resulted in a big mess in the whole world. Over 70 million military personnel were mobilized. Not only this, over 9 million combatants lost their lives for the conquest of Mongols. The conquest of Mongols took place from 1207 to 1472 and is considered as one of the longest conquests. The whole conquest stretched from the areas of Eastern Europe to the Sea of Japan. It also covered Siberia from the north and spread into the Southeast Asia towards to southward. Other regions covered by this conquest extended to Middle East as well as Indian subcontinent. The Mongolian conquest is also referred as the largest contiguous empire in the world history. This war covered a huge area of 33 million square kilometers, that is 22% of the total land area of the earth. The number of people killed during the Mongolian War extended up to 100 million in numbers. 5. The Rebellion of AnLushan. The Rebellion of AnLushan is yet another deadliest war that took place in China. The conquest occurred during the rule of Tang Dynasty. This war is considered as one of the oldest wars carried out in the world, as it took place from the year 755 to 763 respectively. The ex-Tang general, AnLushan, made a declaration of himself as an emperor. To continue his rule, he established the Yan dynasty as a rival of the ruling dynasty in the northern part of China. This rebellion, before being quashed, reigned the throne of three Tang emperors. This war also created a lot of gore and bloodshed. The number of people who lost their lives went up to 36 million in figures. 6. Qing dynasty. Conquest of the Ming dynasty. Also known as the Manchu dynasty, the Qing dynasty was the very last dynasty of country China that ruled from the year 1644 to 1912. The Qing dynasty conquest of the Ming dynasty occurred from the year 1616 to 1662. This dynasty was established by the Mnikou clan Izanjiro in the region of modern northeast China. Slowly, this conquest expanded into the whole of China as well as all the territory surrounding the country. Eventually, the empire of the Great Qing was established in the country. The complete subjugation of the country was completed around 1683 under the rule of Kangxi Emperor. This conquest made a death toll of around 25 million. 7. Conquests of Timur-e-Lang. One of the earliest fights that occurred between the people is the Conquests of Timur-e-Lang. These conquests were fought from 1369 to 1405 respectively. Timur has always been a controversial figure to the world. He intended to reinstate the Empire of Mongolia. However, his heaviest blow during the rule was considered the attack led against the Islamized Tatar Golden Horde. This rude ruler, instead of fighting for the rights of his people, was found more at his palace in an urban environment. He presented himself as a Ghazi whilst conducting the wars. The areas where these conquests took place were Middle East region, India, Central Asia as well as Russia. The estimated deaths caused in the whole conquest period ranged from whopping 15 million to 20 million. 8. The Revolt of Dungan. Also referred as Dungan Revolt, this war is considered as one of the most chaotic wars of the world. It was fought in China between the years 1862 and 1877. This war involved a number of warring factions of the military leaders as well as bands who didn't entertain any purpose or goal behind fighting with each other, yet they fought and created immense gore on the land. They merely fought with each other on the bank of the Yellow River of Russia. This war was senseless, yet it created a lot of bloodshed. The estimated deaths caused during the Revolt of Dungan ranges from 8 million to 12 million. 9. Russian Civil War. The Russian Civil War is considered as one of the deadliest wars in the history of mankind. This war was fought from the year 1971 to 1921 in Russia. This gruesome war was fought in between the White Army, the loosely allied anti-Bolshevik forces and the Bolshevik Red Army. This multi-party war took place within the former Empire of Russia post the collapsing of the Russian Provisional Government to the Soviets. Although this war is considered as one of the shortest of all the gruesome wars of the world, yet it experienced a death toll of 5 million to 9 million lives. This death toll makes this war one of the most awful wars of all the time. 10. Napoleonic Wars. Fought from the year 1803 to 1815, the Napoleonic Wars took place in the regions of Europe, Pacific, Atlantic as well as Indian Ocean. These wars were a series of the wars which was declared against the French Empire of Napoleon by all its opposing coalitions. The Napoleonic Wars were sparked by the 1789 French Revolution that created a lot of buzz during the history. The Empire of Napoleon met a dead end that also resulted in the restoration of the monarchy of Bourbon in France as well as the creation of the Concert of Europe. This deadly war took away around 7 million lives.